Hello, guys, and welcome to the Tonight Show podcast for the 15th of May live on a very different setup tonight. Fortunately, my laptop's having technical issues. So, yes, tonight's show is presented a bit differently. I'm hoping my battery will last the entire show. But yes, I'm joined by late party sports Zach Chambers around all latest news. Hello, Zach.
Hello, Charlie. Hello, bud.
So, I'm going to use my laptop and try and get the information off here, whilst we go over the show. We're going to start off with the news that Rupert Lowe has claimed that, according to this, Farage is running a cult, claiming after the police investigation, was apparently, turned down. Well, actually, they did investigate this by the police, but it turns out that it didn't go any further than the courts. They claimed that they weren't going to proceed with it. According to this, speaking on Victoria Derbyshire, BBC Newsnight, Lowe suggested to do a relationship with Reform UK changed when Elon Musk came out, said he was less complimentary about me and less about Nigel Farage, and more complimentary about Rupert Lowe. Reform UK declined to comment on Lowe's latest attack on Farage, who previously dismissed the row as irrelevant and continued the advanced party. Sarah Puchin, who won this month's Runcorn Helsby by-election for Reform, described herself as Lowe's replacement party benches in Parliament and also played down the Lowe spat. The independent MP also said that Farage's brutal leadership style, if people sort of become people, it's all like Tutu will be a poppy, he tends to lop off the head at the head of the poppy. He also claimed that that's what has a team of what I call very long, lightweight sort of servants, which tends what you find in a cult. He also claimed that Farage is not fit to be leader, as well. So, Zach, Rupert Lowe launching an astonishing attack on Reform UK leader Nigel Farage. Obviously, Zia Youssef, the chairman's been under a lot of pressure to resign over the comments regarding reporting Rupert Lowe to the police. Obviously, I don't know what the view is from the opposition benches in terms of what they think of this. What's your assessment on this?
Well, what's my assessment on this is that Rupert Lowe is obviously a lucky person. The fact that he's managed to not get away with a charge of what's being claimed is obviously offensive language, assault, and all that sort of thing as well. But what I will say is that he's lucky. From what we've seen, that a file was sent to CPS. Obviously, it sounds like there's not been enough evidence, and I think, in my view, in the first place, it would be sort of hard to necessarily get the evidence for a conviction, for a charge, anyway, and that would be quite difficult. So, I'm at the end of the day, I'm probably not really that surprised that it came to the fact that he did not get charged. I think I think I said it would be very hard to prove, and the threshold for these sort of incidents would be quite high. With a lot of substantive evidence behind it. So, yeah, I have to say, I don't know if any parties come out this brilliantly at all. Reform, the way they've handled it, has not come out brilliantly. Rupert Lowe, I don't think has come out of it well either, because of some of his actions and some of the comments that he has made as well. But I think, as I said before, Charlie, I think voters have moved on from this because we saw that Reform clearly won the local elections by big margins in the key constituency. So yeah, I have to say, overall, it's not. I don't know if this is going to last really that long with voters.
Yeah, well, that's all. Rupert Lowe certainly obviously, spoke out a lot about what's happened with Reform. I believe it was a witch hunt, in my opinion. I believe, and questions will need to be answered for leaderships. You know, the fact that this happened to one of their own MPs is very bad. And, you know, definitely will be something to keep an eye out. Please comment down below, guys, what you make to the latest news on that. Moving on now to the next news story. Sorry, we are going through these quite quick tonight. Anyway, the next news story, Zach, Zelensky and Putin having a little bit of a argy-bargy debate on a ceasefire, which the United States still are trying to push for.
Yeah, and the talks this week have been very up and down, shall we say, as well. We had heard, just to give some context to this, the European leaders met on Saturday in Kiev, Ukraine. So it was all the core European countries such as Starmer, Macron, Germany as well, Poland, all meeting the leaders from their countries, all meeting Zelensky in Kyiv. They came to a unified position that there would be ramping up of sanctions on Russia if they refuse to get into ceasefire negotiations with Ukraine. Now, so far, since the events as well, there had been sort of hints and possible movement that maybe would be the week that that Putin and Zelensky may come to meet in Turkey, which is where this is all being held. But it appears that Russia took this less seriously than what everyone has suggested. And to be honest, I'm kind of not surprised. They sort of kept us on our toes a little bit, and in the end, only sent a very small, low-level delegation to Ankara, which is in Turkey, whilst the Ukrainians sent probably the highest delegation possible to Turkey to try and negotiate with the Russians. I think, unfortunately, you know, what's happened is that Putin has just not decided not to show up, to be a show person again. And they've been left the Ukrainians hung and dry on this instance. I think the Europe now needs to realize this is not being taken seriously. Impose the sanctions that they promised. Trump has suggested that he's not going to this meeting between Zelensky and Putin is not going to happen until Trump himself meets Putin in person as well, which I guess it's going to be a while. And yeah, I had a bit of sort of little hope that anyway that these two leaders were going to meet, but yeah, I think there was always the small possibility, but yeah, it didn't happen, and I'm not surprised as well. I mean, the Russians like to play a long game, a foolish game as well, and yeah, it's been a busy week in terms of that front as well. We've still had Russia attacking various Ukrainian cities. We've also, I should mention on the subject, this is where Donald Trump said that he would be meeting not meeting Putin, but obviously he wouldn't be. So the two leaders, Ukraine and Russia, won't be meeting until Trump meets Putin himself. In this instance, this was said on the fact that Donald Trump is currently on a Middle East tour, visiting Saudi Arabia, Qatar, as well, Abu Dhabi, Bahrain, in key areas, also meeting with the Syrian president as well, and lifting sanctions on the Syrian regime, which I have to say is one of the rare good things that Donald Trump administration so far in terms of the foreign policy approach and the lifting of sanctions against Syria. And more countries have started to do that now. Now there's been a bit of normalization of that country. But yeah, I have to say, it's good to see that those sanctions have now been lifted, and it makes a lot of sense personally for me, because Syria has become a much improved country, still not without its faults, but it's beginning to get some structure, some systems for its people, some governance, and and yeah, it's a sense of normality. It's not fully there yet, but yeah, it feels like Syria is starting to get back on track as well, and I think that it's absolutely right that these sanctions are lifted, and they make a lot of sense to me as well. And so it's good. I mean, Donald Trump will probably be pleased with what has got out of the Middle East trip this week. Investment from the Qataris, investment from the Saudi Arabians. There was a lot of debate about a Boeing plane which Qatar has gifted to Donald Trump out of their own money. I mean, it is a big gift. And I have to say, if this was a Democrat taking gifts like that, there'd be a lot of controversy and a lot of outpouring. So, I mean, this is Donald Trump we're talking about. I mean, the Trump family is wide ranged in gifts and donations from Qatari officials, Saudi Arabian officials, all that sort of thing as well. So it's not surprised that there's been complaints on that front. But yeah, I think overall, I think the fact that Trump's got a lot of investment out of it, so it means he may be seen this visit as a positive, as well as you can probably see Charlie sorting out his issues with the computer. But nevertheless, as well, I think this has been an important visit. I mean, Trump doesn't know where he's going next, even from what I've seen from comments from him today. So he doesn't know where he's going home to DC or going somewhere else. So it sounds like things are up in the air as to what the next trip up is, which is a bit in its own right. So yeah, I will be remain to seen what happens next for Trump, and in terms of trying to organize visits as well. I will continue if Charlie sorts out. Oh, I can't hear. I'm sorry, Charlie. That device again. That device again is not working. It must be something your end on that computer. That something. Someone's cut your mic. Someone's cut the mic cords off that computer. Whatever you've been using today, but it's gone a bit wrong. As well.
Right, here we go.
Oh, there we are.
Right, sorry guys, I apologise, but it's gone into opening day for GB News on my laptop, I'm afraid. I have decided to abort the laptop tonight. If I have to go on charge, I have to go on charge. I just have to turn my camera off, if that's the case, because I'll probably have to stand up and do it. But, yeah, no, so, I mean, definitely a new laptop probably coming for me. That laptop I've had 5 years old now, so goodness me, it's an old laptop. But yeah, lots of news on the Ukraine forefront as well, so definitely worth to keep out for watching there as well. Moving on now to some news. I mean, Zach, what did you make this week to PMQs regarding Kemi and Kia's debate in the Commons?
I have to say, I think that PMQ. Oh, goodness me! I need to close my tab then. I have to say, I think that PMQ shows that Labour are treating the Conservatives as an instinct party that can no longer be seen as the main opposition, and I think they're right to do it. So in this instance, because people now see reform as sort of the main opposition to the Labour Party, and potentially the next set of people that are probably going to number 10 at this rate as well. But yeah, you can clearly tell because Keir Starmer cannot take Kemi Badenoch absolutely seriously at all, because Kemi Badenoch is dreadful at PMQs, as we see time and time again. The performances get worse. The confidence is not there. Her questions are lacking in substance and instinct on this one, and it's not very working for her. It was very interesting to see some of the answers as well, not just from Kemi Badenoch, but from others as well, like the Plaid Cymru leader in Westminster, Liz Roberts, getting shot down by Keir Starmer on some of the questions of the policies and all that sort of thing as well. I mean, that was a shoot down as well. I mean, some people have a thought about it. But nevertheless, I find it, I think it was an okay PMQ for Keir Starmer, a bad one again for Kenny Baynor. How many times can we keep saying that? As well, and just nothing interesting about a Prime Minister's question form. It's just lacking as usual, and he's not doing well overall.
Wasn't there a question that I read up by a journalist on cocaine use in a meeting in France or in Kiev or something? From what I remember.
Well, that theory's been completely bollocked online, and it's absolutely garbage. There is no cocaine substance being used. I think the idea that the four leaders who let Zelensky would snort cocaine in front of the cameras is just bizarre. And I think we should stop reading right-wing theories on X, Charlie. I really do, because they're just lame and pathetic and useless.
I've hardly used it. I mean, I think X is an interesting site, and I know a lot of people have free speech concerns, obviously, on there. And again, social media can be one of those things that people can have different views on. And, you know, also when you look at America and Canada having a bit of a... I mean, Zach, what do you make to the appointment of Mark Carney as Justin Trudeau's successor?
The election was a few weeks ago, but I have to say, I think it's well deserved. I think he's been a calm head in this, and actually he's looked competent in his role. It's the best thing that the Liberal parties in Canada has done for themselves in many, many years by getting rid of Trudeau. If Trudeau stayed on, then the Liberal Party would have been annihilated. In power at the moment, but actually, what's happened is Pierre Poilievre actually lost his seat himself, which says a lot. And speaking of, I think what we need to see out of this is Donald Trump in the worldwide. And this is this is relevant in some ways. Donald Trump's government has caused a left sort of a sort of anti-American coalition of voters, where they are just they don't mind, they wouldn't mind a conservative, but they just don't. But because Donald Trump has behaved the way he has, they've looked to their leader, their more conservative leaders, and thought, they're not going to stand up for Donald Trump. They're going to follow in his footsteps. So I think what's happened in this instance is that the Liberal Party is benefiting from changing leader. And in Australia, where Anthony Albanese got re-elected with a bigger majority, I mean, if you said that a month or two ago, then you'd think you'd be plain barking mad. But because of Trump, his politics, and the insane policies that he's brought, he's united the anti-Trump forces across the world so far in Australia and Canada, and it's resulted in more left-wing majorities or left-wing part of governments overall in across the world. And that's the result of him.
I saw I saw that Albanese got re-elected in Australia. I read up that he won that election. Obviously, Mark Carney took over as the president of Canada as well, and was the Prime Minister of Canada, the leader of Canada now. So it's going to be interesting to see how the geopolitical terms go on that forefront, whether like trade, deals, business, stuff like that. There'll be a lot of questions around that. So please comment down below, guys, what you make to the latest news on that. Now it's time to go on to the sports news now. We're going to start with the Formula One back, obviously, this weekend in Imola. And Zach, Franco Colapinto steps into Alpine.
Yeah, replacing Jack Doohan this weekend. I mean, a harsh move, personally, in my view, on Jack Doohan. I mean, the knives were out before he even got into the seat. So, it's just harsh, and I just don't get it, really, in my view. But anyway, I have to say, it is Franco Colapinto who's the better. Let's be honest. If someone's going to get someone for replacement, he is a good one. He's a very popular replacement, I think, as well. And I think he can show that he can competently do hopefully be able to drive that vehicle as well. And yes, I think he will be pretty decent in that vehicle overall. And I have to say, it's a good thing as well that he's in the seat. But the problem is that he's obviously on a very short-term contract. He's not even on a season-long deal. He's on a short-term deal with Alpine, and so he has to perform. But the question is, what happens if he doesn't perform? Do they then promote, let's say, Paul Aaron, for example, into that seat? Or Aaron, I can't remember which one is it. Is it Aaron Paul? I think like that.
Something like that. Something like that.
Yeah. I think Paul Aaron. There you go. Paul Aaron. There you go. That's the right one. Do they promote the Estonian into that seat as well? He's obviously completed at High Tech as well, but that's obviously linked to Alpine. So yeah, in my view, the next one out will be Paul Aaron if Colapinto doesn't survive at the seat. But I hope he doesn't come to that anyway. But yeah, we're back at Imola this weekend. It's one of Kim Antilles' first of the home races for him. So it'll be a nice homecoming for him as well. And yeah, there's been debate about several things. McLaren's tyres and the brakes, for example. How they deal with that, how they deal with the tyre water, cooling, all that sort of thing as well. That's been cleared by the FIA as well. Speaking of the FIA, it appears that they're finally back down a little bit in their ridiculous driver swearing rules. They've updated for the first time, I think it's Appendix B, which states the driver code of conduct in terms of actions. Now, they have relaxed it a little bit. So there's now one of the main areas of change here is that they have split between what they deem a controlled environment and a non-controlled environment. So the rules are much more relaxed if you're in what we call a non-controlled environment. So we talk about being in the race car, for example. That's what's been deemed as a non-controlled environment. You can, if there is a bit of swearing, that doesn't look like there's going to be anything out of that. However, if you are in a controlled environment, such as a press conference or the media pen, where you should be able to control your swearing, then you would get a fine if you were referred to the stewards. You get a fine if or even some points on your license or other penalties as well if you do use inappropriate language. Now, I have to say, I think it's definitely an improvement from what we got earlier, because the first version was just pathetic, and I think it makes a mockery out of it. This one's slightly better, but I don't. The fact that we even have this debacle in the first place shows that it's not taken seriously by the FIA, even George Russell, the F1 drivers, the GDPA have called this sort of, the Grand Prix Driver Association, GPDA, has called out this sort of thing before. Shows that we shouldn't have got to this position. It's better than what we originally had, but we're still in this position. And the other bit of news and interesting this week we saw as well is that the MBS himself wants to take a bit more control of the governance of the FIA and have more say about who his potential candidates could be against when it comes to the FIA presidency, which is the term of the dictatorship itself. And it's that's awful. And that just proves it would just turn into a Belarusian and Russian version of the FIA if he gets his way. So yeah, and given all the rumors about potentially Carlos Sainz Senior running for that role as well, potentially standing out on that one, it's quite convenient timing, isn't it? That these sort of reforms are being pushed now, potentially to the FIA governance body. But yeah, we're back in the middle of this weekend, back to a normal race weekend as well, and it's not going to be an easy circuit to overtake on. There's going to be narrow opportunities, but there's been just lots of moments across the years as well. Last year's race was close. Max Verstappen just about won against Lando Norris. because Lando Norris had the race pace to hunt Verstappen down. But this time round, we'll be able to see McLaren, who you think will come in as the sort of favourites to this one as well. But will remains to be seen. It's the first European race of the season, and it's the first of a triple header that includes, as I said, Imola, Monaco, and Spain, with all 3 races coming up in the next 3 weeks as well.
Yeah, and next Sunday is the Indy 500 as well, and Monaco Grand Prix weekend will also be the Indy 500. Practice has been currently on at the moment across, and I believe Zach on Sunday, I believe he's qualifying for the Indy 500. I think Sunday will be happening.
It is the big problem. I'm sorry, the big qualifying session this coming weekend. I think it's Saturday and Sundays. I think it's 4 qualifying sessions this weekend as well. Some of which will be will be setting the grid that drivers will get multiple runs to go the fastest. We have seen 230s, 240s mile an hour speed limits. Alex Palou has been looking good, although he had a few issues today in practice with engine and oil problems as well. But he's been on dominant form recently.
And he won the last race, didn't he? Won at the road course.
He's not won at Indianapolis. So this is one of the things that will make his day is if he can get on there and win the Indy 500 as well, have a dominant start of the season, then that'll be some achievement for him as well. But qualifying is this Saturday and Sunday. There's 4 sessions going to be happening as well, and then there'll be a few practice sessions alongside that as well along the way. There's been loads of practice this week as well. This is probably the best 2 weeks of an IndyCar season that you're going to get as well. Qualifying this weekend, and then obviously we'll talk about it next weekend in a bit more detail when we get to it on Thursday next week as well. But it'll be next the Sunday. It's Monaco GP day. It is Indy 500 day. It's Coca-Cola 600 day as well at Charlotte. That's the big 3 triple headers, the dual weekend in May for the motorsport calendar. Next, obviously not this weekend, but next weekend as well. And we'll mention a little bit more about it soon as well.
That's the NASCAR Cup Series race, just to let you know, on the full oval circuit in Charlotte as well. It's going to be interesting, and I can't wait. The Indy 500 is always one of my favourite. There's been big crashes in the years. There's been safety cars, cautions. Fernando, I'm surprised that Fernando Alonso's not doing it this year, given how dreadful that Aston Martin is. I bet he should have gone there and thought, you know what, Alonso, he's not scored a point in 6 races. Why don't someone, if they had the chance, send him over to Indy to win the Triple Crown? Graham Hill is the only driver to ever do it, and Alonso would be the second driver to do it. But like I said, it's impossible. It's very difficult, and anything can happen in 200 laps on Sunday, a week on Sunday. Qualifying is the most important. Obviously, they'll have, I believe, the top 32 drivers. I think there is going to be a qualifying session on Saturday for those who are aiming to get into the 500 as well. But it'll be great event. Can't wait for it. I'm sure you all will be excited for the Indy 500. Moving on now quickly to the football. 2 matches to go. Penultimate weekend for the Premier League. Tomorrow night there is a kick-off. In fact, there's actually 2 matches tomorrow night. Villa Tottenham at 7:30. Man United Chelsea 8:15. And then Sunday, I believe Saturday might be the FA Cup final. I don't know.
It is.
So that's why there's no matches on Saturday. Everton, Manchester City are playing in that, I believe, on the FA Cup final.
Crystal Palace as well.
Manchester City and Crystal Palace at Wembley Stadium on the Saturday. There's also playoff action as well in the Football League Championship over the next weeks or so. I think South Sunderland are playing Sheffield United in that, from what I understand, very soon. Everton, Southampton, West Ham, Nottingham Forest, Brentford, Fulham, Leicester, Ipswich. That was as well. Leicester drew the other week against Nottingham Forest, I believe. In that one, Crystal Palace, Wolves, Man City, Bournemouth, and then the other week we had matches as well. Arsenal playing Southampton as well. That's the last match. Sorry. Man Let me have a look. Arsenal playing Newcastle at the weekend. Uncle Chris is watching. Arsenal playing Newcastle at home. Battle for second place. Very much up for grabs in there as well. Tottenham lost against Crystal Palace. Tottenham have got injury concerns ahead of their match as well. Manchester United also losing against West Ham. Very embarrassing result for Man U. One of the worst seasons ever for them. Villa beat Bournemouth. Forest and Leicester drawing. Arsenal drew with Liverpool despite being 2-0 down. Ipswich lost against Brentford. Everton beat Fulham. And Man City and Southampton goals. What was your assessment on the Premier League last week?
Yeah, my assessment was some teams got lucky, others didn't. In terms of performances, I mean, first of all, we should mention that the likes of Arsenal and Liverpool and Manchester City all got draws, and that was crucial to determine the outcome as well. Because now Manchester City v Bournemouth on the Tuesday has some quite serious implications on it. But let me talk about for the other matches last weekend as well. The Nottingham Forest and Leicester City game in 2-2. That was quite a comeback from Leicester. But we saw the humiliation of the owner coming onto the pitch at the end of the match, confronting Espirito Santos. I don't think it's professional behaviour from the owner, I have to say. Although there is a player that had to be put into a reduced coma because of an injury that he received on the Sunday. And I'm wishing him well. I think he's come out of it, thankfully. But yeah, very, very nasty incident as well, because he was continuing. But then it looks like the injuries have picked up since then as well. There are losses for Tottenham again. Were really shocking.
Alawi, we just confirm. Ataowo Awoni. Apologies, my pronunciation is not the very good.
Yeah, no, you're fine with that. As well. Big win for Newcastle on the weekend as well. 2-0 against Chelsea. Went down to 10 men. With a very obvious red card. Liverpool Arsenal also end up 2-2. Arsenal with 10 men as well. Crucial draw for them, and a crucial draw for them as well because Southampton relegated Southampton last place. Southampton drew to Manchester City as well, which means the match on Tuesday is crucial for Manchester City in the Premier League. They're facing the FA Cup on Saturday to pay for piece of silverware this season. But yeah, as you mentioned, there are matches tomorrow this weekend as well in the Premier League. Tomorrow there's 2 overlapping one, both on Sky Sports. Aston Villa Tottenham at 7:30. Chelsea Man United is the big one at 8:15. The most important, it's even more important the context as well. There's no matches Saturday, so we're left with 5 matches on the Sunday, which I'll give you a mention as well. Sunday, the first league match, Everton Southampton, is the last men's game at Goodison Park as well. We should mention the Everton men will be saying goodbye to Goodison Park that season before they move into the new stadium. Now, we've revealed this week that the women's team is going to move into Goodison Park now, rather than vacating that stadium completely, which actually, on the face of it, it's good to see it's getting some use rather than being completely demolished. But yeah, but it's the final game for the men's team as well. So it'll be goodbye to them. That's saying that instance as well. So that's at midday on Sunday. The pick of West Ham v Nottingham Forest is at 2:15. As well, crucial for Nottingham Forest is hopes to try and get to Europe now with some of the results. Not much to say at the 3 o'clock on Sundays. Brentford, Fulham, Leicester, Leicester was really much in dead rubble, although it's Jamie Vardy's last Leicester City match Sunday as well, and he will not be starting for the last match against Bournemouth as well. It's just it's Vardy's last hurrah at the King Power on Sunday. The 4:30 game is a really crucial one between Arsenal and Newcastle. If Newcastle win, that's a massive win for them for their Champions League implication as well. And it may not guarantee the safety of Arsenal's one at the top 4 either as well if they lose to that one anyway. Monday night is Brighton-Liverpool. And then Tuesday, Palace and Wolves and Manchester City's big match against Bournemouth in terms of top contention as well. So yeah, that's on Tuesday, and we should mention, Charlie, as well, before after that before we do this again next week on Wednesday. It is the big match of the week and the season for two teams, particularly for European glory and for a place in the Champions League next season. It's the Europa League final next Wednesday between Tottenham Hotspur and Manchester United in Bilbao. That is going to be a horrifically important match. An English title is going to be. We're going to have an English team winning a European silverware, but which one? Tottenham or Manchester United? The battle of the losers, basically, of the Premier League season this year. That'll be on Wednesday next week as well to look forward to.
Yeah, it's certainly going to be very interesting. To say the least on that one. So yeah, definitely worth a look at as well. And that Premier League darts going price hits a 9 darter but goes out.
Yeah, we've seen this one before. Yeah, I have to say it's been a very fun night of Premier League darts, I should say. We had a fantastic match between Humphreys and Littler, and I have to say it's been absolutely brilliant as well. And I can report, Charlie, that Chris Dobie has just knocked out Luke Littler in the semi-final. And he's going to be in the final tonight of the Premier League darts this week, of week 16 as well. And he will take on either Nathan Aspinall or Stephen Bunting. Let me just check the results, actually. It will take on Nathan Aspinall, I should say. So Nathan Aspinall against Chris Dobie is going to be the final of this week 16. And I have to say as well, Charlie, Nathan Aspinall winning tonight against Michael van Gerwen was massive for his top 4 chances of making it to the O2 for the final week. After this week, we've got one more week of regular season Premier League darts left. And tonight, I mean, if he wins tonight, then he is very likely going to make it to the O2 to London in a 2 weeks time, actually, as well. So yeah, next week can be more important, but this was a massive victory. This has been a massive night for Nathan Aspinall either way by getting rid of Michael van Gerwen in the first quarter final. Massive. And it's extremely important in the context of it as well. So yeah, really big one for Nathan Aspinall, and a good Vic, and he's obviously facing Chris Dobie in the final. It's a very important one coming up as well.
Yeah, and anyway, we're gonna go into the musical actually no, before we do that, Zach, plank of the week. What's your plank of the week this week?
Plank of the week this week goes to I'm telling you who I'm going to give it to. The idiot who tried to set Keir Starmer's front door on fire. It turns out to be a Ukrainian national. He's been arrested for trying to cause trying to cause criminal damage, obviously trying to commit arson, but threatening politicians like that whilst they're away and politician families just unacceptable. So the bloke who tries to set Keir Starmer's house on fire and a few other properties with that gets the plank of the week for me.
I'm going to give it to this supermarket now. Supermarkets, ladies and gentlemen. If you guys drink San Miguel beer in supermarkets, I'm afraid this is the plank of the week this week. San Miguel has been increased. Yes. Price of popular beer hike in Sainsbury's and Morrison's, who get the nomination this week. They have unfortunately done the bad things for those who like drinking pints in a pub. It turns out if you want to buy San Miguel beer now in Morrison's and Sainsbury's, who two received the nominations this week for the plank of the week, they increased the price of the popular drink, which is not a good look. According to this, the increase of Sainsbury's and Morrison's, increasing San Miguel, I think it went up to like 34p or something. It is crazy. 38% it jumped up. 38%. According to this, it was the new prices of 15 out of the lots of San Miguel, 15 out of 24 lots of San Miguel. There as well. They've rose sharply. The highest was staggering 38% chain, actually one of the lowest cost beers. The most significant rise is the 6,660 milliliter bottles of San Miguel, which went up by an average of 34p, 15.5% to £2.55 a bottle since the 1st of January. In Sainsbury's, the price has gone up twice from £1.99 to £2.75 New Year, while Morrison's, the grocer, found prices go from £2.20 to £2.50 a bottle. However, as they actually cut the cost of their beer from £2.5 to £1.94, the large pack, the 10, is their average has also been increased by an average of 10p across the retailer, now up to £13.20. So San Miguel on the rise. I don't know what Sainsbury's and Morrison's are thinking to increase beer price on San Miguel, given that a lot of pubs have now stopped selling San Miguel, especially Wetherspoons now, with Peretti being the replacement. So not a good look there if you're a fan of that one, for sure. We're going to go into a musical interlude now, and we'll be back in a couple of minutes' time. I just want to make sure that everyone can hear me there. Of course, that is the Tonight Show podcast with me and Zach. And this next song now is one that I think we'd all know. You should know this next song, guys. I'm going to play this one for you. And it is a Throwback Thursday one this week. And I feel like this one is the perfect one for you tonight. It is a song by the one and only Ella Henderson and Ghost. We'll see you in a few minutes. Enjoy this one, guys.
My friends have been feeling out. Yeah, there's so much inside of you. It's our high and another you. The show evil was coming through. Really sitting on the wall. They watch every move on me. White light in the shade. You go on my makes us feel safe. I had to go through hell to go on my side. Had to meet the devil to say no mistake. And that's when my love was burning. There is still burning. I going to the river to pray, 'cause I need something that can wash up the pain. And that knows I'm slipping all these demons away. But your ghost, the ghost of you, it can sneak away. I keep going to the river to pray, 'cause I need something that can wash up the pain. And that knows I'm slipping all these demons away. But your ghost, the ghost of you, it can sneak away. Each time that I think on, I turn around and you're coming in. And I let you under my skin, 'cause I love living in sin. Oh, you told me true love was gone to hurt. True pain was gone to hurt. True things that I never learned. I keep going to the river to play, 'cause I need something that can wash out the pain. And that knows I'm sleeping all these demons away. But your ghost, the ghost of you, it keeps me away.
Thank you, Ella Henderson there with Ghosts. An iconic track there, to say the least. What did you make to that song? Classic from Ella Henderson there.
Yeah, I've heard this quite a lot. It's a good song. And it's one of the breakout hits for Ella Henderson. We remember her from X Factor originally, and she was in a shock elimination, if I remember rightly, because she was paired against James Arthur in one of the eliminations, the X Factor eliminations, and she was the victim of that. And it was two very good singers at the time, but she's had a few breakouts since then. That was the big breakout for her. That one. So good song.
Yeah, certainly an interesting one to say the least, for Ella Henderson there with that song. She was on X Factor. Everyone remember X Factor very well, and I'm sure you guys will remember that a lot as well. So it's coming up towards the end of the show now. I'm going to do a special conversation streak this week now. We're going to be talking this week about Lando Norris. I wanted to do it on a feature on Motorsport this week. We're going to be talking about Lando Norris. Now, obviously, he currently drives for McLaren, but what was Lando Norris's background before he was actually an F1 driver? Well, Lando Norris, unfortunately, I can't get it up on my screen in terms of sharing it. It's impossible for me to share, so I'm going to use my laptop to get the information for you guys. Now, according to this, on Wikipedia here, Lando Norris is a British racing driver who currently competes in Formula 1 for McLaren. Now, according to this, Norris was the runner-up in last year's Formula 1 World Championship with McLaren to Max Verstappen. He won 5 Grand Prix across 7 seasons. Now, he was born and raised in Glastonbury to an English father and Belgian mother. Norris began competitive karting racing age 7. He also culminated in victories after a successful karting career. He direct drive karting World Championship 2014. He graduated to Junior Formula E. He won his first title in the 2015 MSA Formula Championship with Carlin, Toyota Racing Series Formula Renault Euro Cup, Formula Renault NEC in 2016. He received the Autosport BRDC World Pommy that year. Norris won the FIA Formula 3 Championship in 2017. He was runner-up to George Russell in the Formula 2 Championship in 2018, both with Carlin, and he also is a member of the McLaren Young Drivers Programme in 2017. He joined McLaren in 2019 as part of Carlos Sainz Jr., made his debut at the Australian Grand Prix as well. He achieved his maiden podium finishing a 2020 Austrian Grand Prix. Does anyone remember that race where Lewis Hamilton got a 5-second time penalty for climbing Alex Albon? Again, Brazil and then Austria, where Norris actually set the fastest lap on the race, I believe, on the last tour to claim that podium. He set his first pole position at Russia, Sochi 2021. Unfortunately, that all went away within the race. Took another podium at the Emilia-Romagna Grand Prix in 2022, and his first win in 2024 at Miami. He repeated the fate at Netherlands, Singapore, and Abu Dhabi. 2025 Miami Grand Prix, Norris achieved 5 race wins, 10 pole positions, 16 fastest laps, and 31 podiums. I mean, Lando Norris has raced in several series. I believe he also raced at Macau as well, finished second in a Macau Grand Prix one year as well. I know there was a horrible crash at Macau years ago. I think Sophia Flörsch had a horrible accident. I think she was out with a bad nasty injury for a while. I do remember the Macau crash actually quite well. I know Sophia Flörsch, one of the drivers involved. Zach, Lando Norris obviously currently races with McLaren. He's been a very successful driver in all sorts of series, from Formula 2 to, I think, even Ginettas at one point as well. You know, racing in the Ginetta GT4 Super Cup at one point as well, the Ginetta series. Brands Hatch stuff. Lando Norris has had a long road to F1. It's been a long career for him. What do you make of his rise throughout the ranks and in general now where he is in F1?
Yeah, he's had an incredible journey as well. He has, well, he has been through, he's done a lot. So he's gone through Ginetta Junior, as you mentioned as well, in 2014. He took part in that. He took part in the ADHD Formula 3 and the F4, the BDRC Formula 4, the MSA Formula, where he won. He also won a title in that series as well. Then he went to the Toyota Race Series, won that a title as well. Also racing the BDRC British F3. Went into the Formula Renault as well. Won both the Euro Cup and the NEC. And then he absolutely dominates the FI F3 European Championship before then taking part in FI Formula 2. And I mean, his time came right beyond there as well. That's when he joined F1 when McLaren revamped his lineup and got Carlos Sainz from Lando Norris in as well. He joined the McLaren Joe program since 2017. And all since then as well. He's born in Bristol. He's obviously his father's a retired pensions manager, and he's one of Bristol's wealthiest people, and the 501st richest person in the country, as well. He holds both British and Belgian citizenship, because there's family links that are Dutch, not Belgian. He tried horse riding, then quad biking and motorcycle riding, and then he moved into karting at age just 7 years old, by the way. The British Karting Championship as well. He left schools without any GCSEs, which is quite incredible when you think about it. No GCSEs. I have to say it's really surprising and quite something to read that he had no GCSEs. But it proves that, it's in many ways as well. It proves that you don't need to be extremely educated to be talented as well. He's also been inspired by Valentino Rossi, but he moved to Monaco in 2022 for financial reasons as well. So he's gone through a lot, and he's done a lot of series, but he's put the determination in, and look where he is now. He's done well for what it's worth, Orlando. And he's also just so young, just 25 years old. And he's still very good and very strong overall. So, he's been a good lad, he is. And, his entertainment has got, as well as been doing his racing series outside of, F1, he's been brought a lot of young viewers in to sport because of his interactions on social media, his Twitch streams and everything like that, his content with Quadrant as well. He's brought a lot in, and particularly been a big contributor to the sport, and I think it's been incredible, really.
Lando is online with his, I think 2020 done sim racing, didn't you? Remember his little streams with Charles Leclerc, Max Verstappen, and I think George Russell as well. They've done some streaming, and had the game of FIFA, Truck Simulator, and F1 racing. Oh man, I remember that very well. And Lando as well with his Quadrant. Oh man, it was funny. Lando does get a lot of hate. I know I criticise him sometimes on, particularly Miami, where he got stuck behind Verstappen a lot of the time, and Oscar Piastri definitely has been looking the much superior driver at the moment. 3 wins in a row, could go for a 4th this weekend, which would be quite something really. But Lando Norris is not to be underestimated. I believe Lando will be stronger this weekend. But like I said, will it be a snooze fest of a race, given how narrow that track is at Imola, or will it be a race where they actually do well? I'm leaning towards a snooze fest. I don't think there'll be much overtaking, but I hope. And it's a shame because I went to the British Touring Car Championship last week and I saw loads of action in the Caterham race. There was about 5 or 6 lap changes, and honestly, Zach, as well. The tickets now for Silverstone for a touring car weekend are like 50 quid for both days, and then for Formula 1 they're 100 quid. And I feel like the BTCC and other motor racing series provide decent entertainment for cheaper the price.
Yeah, but when you think about it also as well, they're 2 different sort of series, and they're also sort of very, very different in nature as well in terms of popularity and viewership and sponsorship and costs and everything like that as well. So in some ways, it's understandable why the price is different. But there is a conversation to be had about how heavy the costs are for that sort of thing as well. And it's no wonder why people get concerned about it a bit at the costs of running it all as well, I should mention. So yeah, it is very costly, I have to say, as well. But
pay 100. It's like pay £100, go and watch the F1 movie come out next month, and it's like, I mean, the Silverstone tickets for F1. I mean, the British touring cars are so much cheaper. I'd rather go watch BTCC at Silverstone than F1. I'm not being rude. That's my honest opinion. I'd love to go to an F1 race, but looking at last year's weather when it was raining, it was track was muddy, and oh man, I mean the grounds were just muddy and everything. When I saw the videos on social media, I mean Zach, you were there, and the how muddy, how wet it was. But the good thing is with Silverstone, at least they've got covered grandstands, particularly in the middle sector.
I mean, well, think about me, child. I've got to go camping this year in the wet, and it might be raining. But it was pretty miserable at night, at the afternoon time. Very late into the afternoon, into the evening, it was miserable, and we didn't bring the protective kit really with us. The coats were pretty soggy, the trousers were pretty soggy, and everything like that as well. But it was all right for most of the day until the weather came. But yeah, I imagine all the fields soggy, wet, paths awful. You're looking for your protective equipment. Yeah. I'm hoping the British weather is not going to be like that when I go there across the weekend, but who knows? Oh.
And I was going to ask as well, what was your opinion on the trailer for the F1 film coming out?
Well, see, I have to watch it at some point. I'm sort of not 100% convinced about it at the moment, but I will eventually find my way to watching it. I do want to watch it at some point. I do want to see it. Maybe it's something for down the line for me, but I'm interested. Yeah, I'm one thing I've been getting into recently is the soundtrack for the F1 movie, which there's songs starting to come out of that you may see as well. The first track I think came from Lil Yachty and Doja Cat. And then there's the second one last week released by an K-pop artist called Rose. And then today, I think quite recently, the next tease song has been the one that Ed Sheeran has done for the soundtrack as well, because Ed Sheeran has a song on the soundtrack, which will be included in that. It sounds much more like rock and rolly than some of the stuff that I've heard, and I've had a little teaser of it, and there's a lot of guitars in that. But I'm looking forward to the soundtrack particularly. And I'm gonna definitely enjoy that most certainly, because me and my music, I'm quite a prolific streamer of music and all sorts of things, and anything from the F1 soundtrack goes straight in my basket.
And also as well, my uncle has just messaged me in to talk about the wrestling. I've confirmed with Backlash, whilst we're here, John Cena beat Randy Orton to reclaim his to retain his world title. Obviously, we've got the big fight with him and a former friend of his, actually, or someone who returned heel recently. Cena attacked him. And that will be at Saturday Night Main Event, where you can find a big event there as well. Saturday Night Main Event, we'll see lots of action as well. So again, Saturday Night Main Event will R-Truth. That's it. R-Truth will be fighting John Cena at Saturday Night Main Event. Also as well, we had other matches as well. The ladies match, Laura Valkyria. I think that was at WrestleMania. She won that. The full program will be available on YouTube if you want to go and watch that or Netflix for WWE. And finally, Zach, to round this show off at the weekend is the return of the Eurovision Song Contest on Saturday. And remember, Monday headline it for the UK this year.
Yeah, remember Monday are the UK headliners for the Eurovision Song Contest. It's been taking place at Basel. The second semi-final has just happened, by the way. I just like to mention as well. And I just want to say that there are the ones that have qualified for to the finals tonight were Latvia, Armenia, Austria, Greece, Lithuania, Malta. Love their song. Denmark, Luxembourg, Israel, and Finland are all through to the final. So the finals take place this Saturday. We have the 26th, I think the 26th finalists involved. So as well. So Switzerland, Iceland, Spain, Ukraine, Albania, Portugal, Estonia, Italy, Netherlands, Norway, Poland, San Marino, Sweden, France, Germany, United Kingdom, as well as Latvia, Armenia, Austria, Greece, Lithuania, Malta, Denmark, Luxembourg, Israel, and Finland, all in the final on Saturday. There's some good songs in there. I'll give you someone like the Tommy Cash one. What should I say as well? Norway's one's pretty good. Sweden have got a good entry. UK's entry, I don't think it's Eurovision winning, but is it better than last year's? I don't know, but it might do slightly better, or it could do really badly. I think the vocals and the sound effects need tidying up in the final performance. But yeah, the best entertainment night of the year is on Saturday, and that's all that matters. If you're ready to be entertained, if you're ready to be cringe, if you're ready to have fun, then Saturday night is what's about. The Eurovision Song Contest 2025.
Yep, always in May, 17th of May, live in Basel. It'll be on BBC One, across the BBC channels. BBC One will be broadcasting that event live, so you'll be able to watch that on there if you want to watch it. And of course, remember Monday are also going to be at Brands Hatch as well for the American Speed Fest weekend, which is a Euro NASCAR Series weekend of Brands Indy as well. They're going to be having a little country and western concert stage up. If you go and you're included in your admission and it's a dry day, you can go and watch the concert action in the evening. I might even go to American Speed Fest. I don't know yet. I only was at Brands Hatch last week watching the British Touring Cars. Lovely weather for it. Paddock Hill Grandstand was certainly worth the booking for there. But that brings us, unfortunately, to the end of the Tonight Show podcast, unfortunately. Thank you guys for putting up with some of the technical issues tonight, with particularly my laptop, which is not looking great at the moment for broadcasting. But thankfully tonight I've managed to use my phone. It's been working fine. So I've not been able to share all the news via my screen, but we've done our best to cover you on the show tonight. And yes, in terms of Zach, what's the biggest talking points coming up in the next week in terms of politics across the UK and around the world?
So I tell you one big point that's happening tomorrow, by the way, and I think it is big, and I should mention this as well. Tomorrow is the report stage of the assisted dying bill in England. So the report stage is where more amendments are mentioned. It goes to the whole House this time. Anyone can plot down a group of amendments. It is a private members bill. There has been some sidings and switchings going on about who's going to vote for what and who are going to vote against it. The votes are moving, but which direction is going to impact the most will remain to seen. This is the report stage, not the final stage of it, but the report stage where we get more and more amendments. That's going to be a very big talking point tomorrow, I think, and is going to head into the week ahead as well in terms of how that's going to be perceived. If you've seen it, by the way, talking about assisted dying, that passed the Scottish Parliament on the other day as well, on its first stage as well. It managed to pass with the Lib Dems bringing that up for a vote, and it passed in the first stage of Parliament there as well. But it's got to go through more stages for that to be a Scotland law as well. But yeah, that's going to be one of the big talking points tomorrow, I think, as well, and throughout the week is the assisted dying bill as well.
Yeah, it's going to be very interesting. And that, unfortunately, brings us to the end of the Tonight Show podcast tonight. Thank you so much for watching the show, and to everyone, who's been watching tonight. Apologies for the technical issues, but we got through in the end. So thank you so much for watching, guys. And And yeah, we'll see me and Zach again next time for another edition of the show. Take care. Have a great rest of the night. See you later. Bye-bye.